Hi everybody, we're going to do what am I wearing and why. So today I'm wearing the Armoury by Ring Jackets Model 3 suit. I'm wearing an Ascot Chang tab collar shirt. I am wearing a Drake's tie. I am wearing an Armoury pocket square. It's our lens cloth pocket square. For my shoes, I've got the Armoury's Hudson loafer, which is our short vamp tassel loafer. A pair of Tabio socks. And for my wrist check today, I've got FP Journe's Resonance, which they nicknamed the parking meter. You can probably tell why. Why am I wearing this today? Today is kind of a unique day. Today is the 10th anniversary of the Armoury. The Armoury is 10 years old now, which I am still trying to wrap my head around. We started this business October 20th, 2010, and here we are, October 20th, 2020. I was in my late 20s then, and I'm now in my late 30s. I still feel a little bit like I'm in my late 20s in terms of like how confused I am all the time. I started this business on October 20th because it was also the birthday of my father. And my father, being quite an interesting businessman and always kind of an inspiration in terms of business for me, I felt like it was fitting to start the business on his birthday. Funnily enough, actually, it was only after he passed away that I also got kind of the momentum for myself to get out and get this thing going. So thanks, Dad. Why am I wearing this today? Because all these pieces, I think, represent some sort of progress that the Armoury made, as well as like, there's some interesting stories behind it. So let's go through them one piece at a time. Ring Jacket by the Armoury, or the Armoury by Ring Jacket Model 3 suit. You know, this has been like our staple. We've been selling this for, I don't even know how long, 7 years, 8 years? What happened was, when we first started, we were selling Ring Jacket's domestic collection. And, you know, the collection, because it had to follow more Japanese tastes, was actually getting a little bit too trim for our taste, you know, so their taste and our taste were starting to diverge a little bit. And at the same time, like, our relationship was getting good enough that we could request to develop our own models. So we started with a few things. We started with the Model 1, which wasn't bad. We did a Model 2 that wasn't good enough, so we cut that, and that never actually hit production. And then we got to the Model 3, and that's when things like all clicked, you know. Like the Model 3, it doesn't look like a Liverano suit, but actually it definitely takes a little bit of inspiration from like Antonio Liverano's thoughts about like proportion, right? Like on the Model 3, you really get a sense of like a little bit of drape in the chest, a little bit broader in the shoulders than, you know, what especially like 8 years ago was the norm. And I think it came together quite nicely. Like, I still love this suit, I still love wearing it, and I think for a lot of people who are like Armoury regulars, they kind of equate us to the Model 3 and vice versa. In fact, I have to say it was Alan C., my co-founder, was Alan who at the time said, why don't we take this really classic Ring Jacket model from their archives, which I think was like the 136 model, and why don't we tweak that a little bit and play with the proportions of that. And what we did was actually we started to mix some of the proportions from a size 50 with some proportions on a size 46, and that's how we came up with this. And you know, it took like a couple of years to iterate that design and refine it, and I'm really proud of it now. I think it's a pretty polished product, and I think that it's generally flattering for like most people who put it on. I really like it. I love wearing this as much as I love wearing anything bespoke, really. Moving on, the Ascot Chang shirt. You know, Ascot Chang is not something that we, like Ascot Chang shirts are not necessarily something that we sell a lot of in Hong Kong. We do sell a lot of them in New York, but actually Ascot Chang has been great collaborators with the Armoury for many years as well. Our first product with them was the safari jacket. And in fact, the safari jacket originally was meant to be kind of like a Mao jacket. And then Ethan Newton, who was with us from the earliest days of the Armoury, Ethan was the one who really like tweaked the pockets into something that was much more like a safari jacket. And so we decided just to call it a safari jacket. And there was Justin Chang at Ascot Chang, who kind of helped us realize the design and make it something that was commercially saleable. And then after that came like the polos. The polos was like another really important product in our history. And in fact, Jake Grantham, Jake has since moved on to start Anglo-Italian with one of our other former colleagues, Alex Peronis. Jake was the one who designed this spread collar, kind of a little smaller than what you'd expect, but looks really good under a jacket. And he put that onto a polo body. Our first polo was actually a one-piece collar, so it's more like a Cuban collar. And then Jake said, let's do this spread collar thing. And it really worked out, looked great. And we still sell it today, you know. So nice little connection back to Ethan and to Jake. Moving on, Drake's tie. So, you know, about the same time that I started the Armoury, I also took over Drake's. That was like July 2010. I had kind of had a long discussion with Michael Drake, and we were both on the same page, and he thought I was an okay guy. And so thankfully, he sold the company to me. And I've acted as kind of the steward for Drake's for the last 10 years. I deal, you know, very little in day-to-day management. I really act as a steward. But it has been beautiful watching that company grow up, and also just watching Michael Hill like just knock it out the park year after year after year. So it does make me very proud to have our own ties made in our own factory in London, and with our logo on it. You know, I'm not a fan of having logos on things, but for this, like, it's pretty subtle. Like, and it gives me the warm and fuzzies. Let's put it that way. So there you go. That's Drake's in the Armoury over the last 10 years. As for the shoes, the Armoury Hudson loafer. So this originally started as a ready-to-wear project with Yohei Fukuda. You know, Yohei and I are good friends. We get along well, and it has been a pleasure collaborating with him on this design for the last couple of years. We started with the Hajime last, which was an Oxford last, and then we moved on to the Giro last, which is a loafer last. And it was really interesting taking like a bespoke shoemaker, a master bespoke shoemaker's experience and last making skills, and then trying to translate that into ready-to-wear shoes. And it wasn't easy. There were a lot of prototypes. There were a lot of like little tweaks that we had to make. But I'm pretty happy with like where the shoe collection has gone. It's taken a while. We don't really want to reveal necessarily the factory, but I would definitely like to thank the Church cousins because they were really instrumental in helping us get this project going and getting it to where it is today. So thanks very much to Yohei and to the Church cousins. What else we got? Oh, socks. Tabio socks have kind of been like my thing for years. I didn't used to talk about them that much, but they make really, really fantastic socks. And we only just started selling them at the shop in the last couple of years. But if you've never picked up a pair, try them. Like, a lot of people see them as this like cheap and cheerful sock, but actually they're great. Like, the fit is great, the quality is great, and we try to stock them in quite simple colors because sometimes that's the hardest thing to get. It's just like good quality, plain navy socks. In fact, a lot of people ask me, hey, what socks should I wear in this outfit, that outfit? Honestly, if you're ever in doubt, just wear navy socks. That's another Antonio Liverano tip. Like, just wear navy socks. And it has served me very, very well. Pocket square, let's see. Pocket square is more just a fun Army project, like something where because we can do enough business, we can actually afford to make weird products like this. So we went to Toray, which is this Japanese like industrial textiles company, and we had them make up these extra, extra large lens cloths with finished edges, and then with like designs that we worked on together with this really great artist named Mark something. Oh man, I can't believe I forgot it. I'll put it in the description. And finally, the wrist check, because the wrist check is kind of special. So this particular resonance, this is an FP Journe resonance. This particular resonance is one of 5, and this was one of the kind of funnier adventures I've had in my life. I won't go into full details. I wrote it all up for a website called Watches by SJX. So if you type in Watches by SJX and then Mark Cho into Google, you'll find the whole story. But it's a pretty interesting story. It's worth having a look at. But it is definitely thanks to having some really great customers at the Armoury who vouched for me to FP Journe to get this project started. And it is definitely thanks to the support of FP Journe's USA CEO, Pierre Halimi, who kind of saw that there was some potential in working with us and doing something interesting. And so to those guys, I am supremely grateful because I really love this watch. And it's not an official Armoury product. It's really more like a Mark Cho product. But definitely, like, without the Armoury, it would have never happened. So I kind of sits on that border. For the 10-year anniversary, we are probably not going to do anything too exciting. The team and I are going to have a nice dinner. And, because it's hard to have events right now because of COVID, we will postpone the events till next year when hopefully things calm down and we can have a real blowout. I thought about doing like tuxedos on Zoom or something like that, but I'd like to do the real thing. I think that would be much better. And if it takes a little bit of waiting, that's no big deal. Like Ralph Lauren had their, what was it, 40th or 50th anniversary, but on the 51st year, because they kind of like didn't realize how difficult it would be to get that thing going on the exact year they wanted it. I think we're kind of facing a bit of a similar challenge. So I look forward to next year. I look forward to however many more Armoury years there are, hopefully many, many, many more. Look forward to making a lot more great products for everybody. And, maybe one last thing. One last thing I hope everyone can take away from 10 years of having to listen to us and deal with us. When I started this business, I didn't really think that much about like what clothes meant. It was just like, oh, it's cool to have great clothes. But I think now I really think about like clothes should represent you, like they shouldn't transform you. They should represent you. They should speak on your behalf in the best voice possible. And so I hope to everybody who is watching this, to everybody who's thinking about buying clothes, like buy clothes that are for you. Like don't buy clothes because someone tells you to. Don't buy clothes because you love the idea of floating around on yachts. Like buy clothes because they are for you and because they speak for you in the best way possible. All right, enough of that. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.